Hello guys, this is Suman from Decode Now. Welcome to the lecture series on Python for beginners. Today we'll be learning more about variable assignments. So let's jump into the video. In the earlier video, we saw how to work with numbers and perform various arithmetic operations using Python. But what do these numbers represent? So it would be nice if we can assign these data types a variable name and we can easily reference them later in our code. So for example, if I had two dogs, I would instead of just saying two, I would assign this integer two to a variable name called my dogs. In order to do that, we'll have to learn or memorize few rules that we will have to keep in our mind before assigning a variable name. So the rules for variable names are names cannot start with a number. So it's we cannot start a variable name with a number. It cannot be 45 decode now. Python does not allow that. We cannot start a variable name with a number. And the second rule is there can be no spaces in the variable name. Use underscore instead. So suppose if I wanted to say how many subscribers decode now has, I it's not possible for me to assign the variable name as decode space now equals so and so number of subscribers. That's not possible because Python does not allow us to use space within variable names. But we can say decode underscore now equals the number of subscribers. That's possible. And we cannot use any of these symbols. So any of the following special characters that you can see here, it can be brackets, question mark, dollar symbol, asterisk, ampersand. We cannot use any of these, not even in the beginning, not even at the end, not even in the middle of our variable names. There are few more standards that we follow while naming our variables. It's considered best practice for the names to be in lowercase. As a Python developer, we Python developers we follow certain standards. So in while naming the variables, we always use lowercase letters. Avoid using words that have special meaning in Python like list and str. So all these keywords, list, str, or int, all these have special meaning in Python. So try to avoid using that, using those keywords as variable names. Python uses dynamic typing. This means that you can reassign variables to different data types. It dynamically we can change the types of the variable. You'll understand it more when I explain it with an example in the next slide. So what this dynamic typing does is it makes Python very flexible in assigning data types, which is different when compared to other languages where we are using static typing. So for example, I can assign my dogs equals 2. So now, right now, my dogs is storing an integer value. And suppose I want to change it to a list. This is a list as we have seen in the earlier videos. My dogs equals Sammy, comma Frankie. So here we are dynamically changing the type from integer to list. This is possible and okay in Python, whereas for other languages, since it's statically typed, it throws an error. We cannot change the data type from integer to either list or in this case in C++ we cannot change from integer to string. It results in an error. So this is what dynamic typing and static typing is. So some of the pros or advantages of dynamic typing include it's very easy to work with. We don't have to worry. We can assign any type to our variables at any point of time. So it results in faster development time. But there are few cons or disadvantages, which is it may result in bugs for unexpected data types, and we always need to be aware of what type we are assigning and what type we are changing in further in the coding. So all those things we'll have to keep in mind. Those are the cons of dynamic typing. So these are all the topics. Let's explore these topics in Jupyter Notebook. So how we can assign values? Suppose I want to say a equals 10, and if we print out a, it's 10. So now this particular integer 10 is assigned to this variable name a. And so we can also change this value from a equals 10 to 5, and if I say a, it says now the value is changed to 5 from 10. We can add the variable names. I need not say 5 plus 5, I can just say a plus a. It gives me the answer 10. We can also assign values. For example, a equals a plus a, which gives me 10. Earlier, a value was 5 here, as you can see, and now a equals a plus a, which is 5 plus 5, 10. So now the value of a changed to 10. So there is a keyword called type, which we can use to get what type that particular variable is. For example, if I say type open small brackets and pass in the variable name a, I get it is an integer, int. The special keyword for integer is int. Suppose I change the value of a to 4.65 and now try to find out what's the type of a. It says it's a floating point value. So this type is a special keyword which we can use to identify what type that particular variable is. So we were talking about few rules, right? What we should keep in mind while naming the variables. So for example, if I use 2 while naming a variable and assign to value 5, it throws an syntax error, invalid decimal literal. So we cannot use an integer in the beginning of our variable name. Suppose I wanted to say decode space now equals 100. This is also not possible. It is throwing a syntax error here. But instead we can use the underscore value in order to store. So there is no error now. If I want to see what value decode now is having, it's 100. So underscore is perfectly fine, but we cannot use spaces for naming variables. We cannot use any special characters, for example, star or ampersand. That also throws a syntax error, invalid syntax. So these are all the few rules that we'll have to keep in mind while naming our variables. So in what does this variable provides us while coding? It provides better meaning and better understanding. For that, let's look into one more example. Let's say my income is 100 and my tax rate is equal to 10%, which we can mention as 0.1. And suppose if I want to find out how much tax I am paying, I can say my taxes equals my income times my tax rate. So if I just ask Python what's the value of my taxes, it says 10. So here we can understand it as my income is 100, my tax rate is 10%, and how much taxes am I paying to the government? It's 10. So instead of just telling 100 star or asterisk 0.1, this assigning variable names to the values gives us more perspective and profound meaning in Python. So this all about variable assignments. If you have learned something new in this video, please do like the video and subscribe to our channel and support us. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback regarding the video and the series that I am doing, please let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next video.